Reason why I had to run this piece. I really think you fuck with me. I sent a band, but that wasn't in the plan. I just really like your company.
Check. Is this on? Oh. Okay. Welcome to Other Words for Horror. I'm your host, Mila, and this is a podcast for sex workers and allies by sex workers. So I interview sex workers from just all over the place, outdoor sex workers, indoor sex workers, all over the place sex workers, online sex workers, whatever. And so yeah, today we have COCO.
Hello, everyone.
You can just introduce yourself.
Oh, yes, of course. I go by COCO. That is not my born name, but that is the name that I prefer to go by inside of the club and outside of the club. Actually, my official stage name is Lady COCO. I have been dancing for about 15 years now. It's been my only job for the most part for the last 15 years. It's what keeps me going. And honestly, I love it.
Yes.
Let's see, a bit about me. I actually went to the U of M. So that's why I moved to Minnesota to go to the U of M. I am about 12 credits shy of getting my 4-year degree. But that's for a later time. At this moment, I have no reason to finish school. That is why I haven't chosen to get my degree. Let's see, what else? My home club is DTC, or Downtown Cabaret. But I've worked all over the place.
So fun. Taco Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. I love Taco Tuesday. Fun fact, strip clubs have like the best food. It's a nice hidden secret for you guys.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't know we have the best food. Except for after COVID. And I'm Mila. I've been working. It's actually my 10-year anniversary here, like in June. Yeah, so I'll be officially a veteran.
Hey, welcome to the club.
Yeah, like I already have like my little baby strippers that I just put under my wing. They're so cute. So I don't know. I guess I wanted to start off with a little quote. The policing of sex work exacerbates stigma, compromises access to resources, justifies violence, and is steeped in racial disparities. There's so much stigma within sex work. So I thought that was like a really good quote. And I guess we could start with, I don't know, what should we start with?
Oh my gosh.
Should we start with racism in the club?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
That's a whole topic in itself.
Yeah. So why are Black women hardly hired?
That is a very good question. And I don't think we'll ever have the real answer to that. I've been lucky in the 15 years that I've been dancing to not really have to experience all of the racism that comes with being an African-American dancer.
Yeah.
But that is also because I choose to go by what I know I need to, as far as I don't wear braids. I make sure that I show up to the club fully dolled up if I'm going there to interview.
Yeah. I feel like Black women have to, like, you have to come up like 100%, like 10, like overly, like 100%, like,
oh, absolutely.
Like, and like, like versus like, white girls can show up barely at 10% and they'll be fine. It's been crazy. I see like beautiful Black women get denied. And then I'll see girls that aren't of color just be hired like right away, which I just think is crazy. But it's obviously like, it's all rooted in racism and stigma because like, I remember my late friend, Raban, she tried to work at a club in Iowa and they were like, oh no, you and your friend just came here and robbed the girls. Because because 2 other girls had came and they're like, oh, you're the same girl. And it's just like, oh, all Black women look the same and everybody's like a thief and all this bullshit.
I know that one of the things that's helped me, which is extremely unfortunate, is the fact that I talk like a white girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is insane to even think about.
Yeah, like you were saying how like
but it definitely helps me get in the door.
It's so different probably between like Seville and DTC, like who you're gonna be that day, right? Because like
oh yeah,
DTC is like was so different. Like it's like popping, and Seville is just like old.
Yes, I currently work at 2 different clubs, and they are drastically different from each other. I love them both, but at one club, I have to be proper as I can put it.
Yeah,
and then at the other club, I'm usually not Black enough, and I get told that, and it's actually funny. I would say that for me personally, the majority of the racism that I experience is internalized racism, and it's from Black guys, unfortunately, because they're the ones telling me, oh, you're not hood enough. Why do you talk like a white girl? You don't have to pretend with me. Or
yeah, and you're just like, oh, I'm
this
just
is just who
being
I am.
myself.
This is just how I talk.
Right.
I'm sorry this offends you.
Ugh. And I always wear like when I'm at work, like I always wear like a wig because I'm just like, I guess like passing or ambiguous or whatever. But once they find out, like I had this one guy, he was like, oh, you're mixed. And then all of a sudden he just started like saying the N-word, this and that, like crazy guy. And we're already in VIP. So it's just like I have to deal with this because I'm like getting paid. But whew, these guys, these old white men with money, like they are crazy and racist. I guess like I could get back to the beginning here too. Because a lot of people who like have this stigma against sex work, they'll bring up like trafficking and stuff. They'll be like, oh, well, like what about like the people that are getting trafficked? Which you can be a sex worker and be against trafficking at the same time. They're two totally different things, not to be conflated at all, which a lot of people do. And I wanted to start out with like the reason why like before we had the term trafficking, it was actually called white slavery. And it was because in the 19th century, they wanted to protect the morality of white women. And so they created this concept of human trafficking because all these white women were doing sex work, and the dangerous foreign men and the innocent white woman was kind of like what it was. And so like obviously all the people like in charge were like, what are we gonna do to save these girls? And so of course they came up with the Mann Act of 1910. And the act created a distinction between virtuous virgins who embodied social purity and the other, so the common and immoral prostitute. And like you didn't have to actually even be like a sex worker to be like considered this. You literally just had to be a woman, like an immoral woman, and you would just be considered like a prostitute who was like which with that means like you could be raped, murdered, and thrown away, and like you're like not a person. And unfortunately still today, it still affects a lot of people today because we have like they'll put what is it called, like no human, it's like NH, no human here, some shit like that. Like if a sex worker is found like dead or whatever, like they'll put like no human found or some shit like that. Cops are allowed to have sex with you if you're in custody, which is just like another. You can do this in Minnesota too. Cops are allowed if you want to look it up. But it's just like a loophole for cops to coerce and rape sex workers, which they do all the time. It's actually the second most, besides like over excessive police brutality. The second one is rape, which is super fucked up. Stigmatization, social perception, systematic discrimination, and social isolation. So what are some of the roots of stigmatization in the sex work industry? I have so many bullets here. The eyes of sex work and the law, the first full criminalization for all constituents. So I'm just like going down like each area that like the law like is involved. So like the first one is that it's full criminalization, which is what we have here in the US. So everybody gets punished. The second one is partial criminalization, which they don't punish the buying and selling of sex, but all activities around it, i.e. like brothels, and et cetera, like they want to divide between society and sex workers. So sex workers are constrained to work alone, which obviously like promotes more violence. And then we have the third, the Nordic model, which a lot of people who don't really know much about the sex industry and like want to be like liberal, they try to like say like, well, let's do the Nordic model, which is basically like legalization, which is aims at criminalizing buyers of sex, while in theory, the model aims at eliminating sex work and only constrains sex workers into more secretive activities, further deepening the growing wedge of understanding with the rest of society. And the overwhelming present stigma permeates the legal foundations of the fourth model. Oh, okay. So the fourth model, legalization of sex work, which is like, again, what we don't want, because that's states like Nevada. And is there another state that has legal sex work? I feel like it's just Nevada and the Bunny Ranch. Yeah. Yeah, which comes with this whole extra problems because they just discriminate. They do like strict health checks, purchase of mandatory license, registrations, all these restrictions. And I mean, you would think like, oh, health checks, that sounds cool. But that's like all fucked up, like rooted in all this shit. That's not good. So, do you want to touch on your stigmas and stereotypes? I see you have all these notes.
Oh my gosh. Yes, let's do it. I guess when I first started, I was 18, and honestly, I didn't even believe that I could be a dancer. I started out as a waitress actually at a gentleman's club, and I was convinced to do amateur night, and I won.
Yes,
and
that's how I started.
yeah, I got that $200 in my hand, and I was on stage for all of 5 minutes, and I was hooked. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But at first, I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I don't look like these women, do I? Like, I don't have the ideal body. You know, I don't have giant boobs. Okay, back then, 15 years ago, I don't have giant boobs. You know, I'm not a stick figure. I'm not a blonde. It turns out that that's not the way it works, and everyone can be a stripper no matter how you look.
Oh yeah, like in this book I have, Revolting Prostitutes, there's like this line it's like in one of the first pages. I'm gonna bring it up. She says basically just like sex workers are everywhere. Like you like we're your teachers, we're your nurses, we're your dental assistants, we're even your dentists, we're your doctors, we're your like doctors, like students. I'm assuming doctors aren't doing sex work anymore. Hopefully not.
We are your everyday people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and a lot of people don't know that. And then it's sad that like once like some of these teachers and like even paramedics, like they're doing sex work too. And then like teachers are getting like fired from their jobs because I don't even understand, just because they have a side job. It's really crazy that like if you're a sex worker and that's like your side hustle, like for some reason that's your main job's business. I don't really understand why it's anybody's business, because it doesn't seem to be their business if you have any other side job.
Well, on the flip side, the reason that we are able to make a living at what we do is because of everyday people that are coming to see us. And that's what people don't, often think about.
And these same people, that's why I always say like clients are not like your allies, because clients are often like, they're like, some of these people like, voted for FOSTA and like, they're like, but they're still coming and support sex work. So it's just crazy how sex work is so stigmatized and so much bullshit when everybody fucking like uses sex work. I maybe tell me you don't watch porn, but I don't know if I believe you.
In everyone's head, the people that are coming to see sex workers are dirty old white men. And that is completely not the case.
Oh my God. One time I was like, yeah, I'm a stripper. And this girl was like, oh, so you dance for dirty old people. And I was just like, actually, I have some hot ass fucking clients that I have to like try not to make out with. So fuck you. Like some of them are really hot. And then like, yeah, I have danced for old white men, and they're putting hella money in my pocket. So why wouldn't I? And people, I don't know. People are just, they're so judgmental when it's really just a job like any other place. Like it is just like we're in the service industry. Like I mean bartenders, bottle service girls, waitresses, we all like dress the part, do the part, give the customer service. You know, we might just be doing a little different.
Well, it's just assumed that we all hate our job. That because we do what we do, that we hate our job, and that's just not the case whatsoever.
Right. And then also like guys would be like, "Oh, do you like what you do?" And I'm like, "Do you like what you do?"
Oh,
Yeah, don't ask dumb questions. Like, okay, like I'm not you're in finance and you hate your job, but I get paid to party naked. So I don't know what you want from me. And then like yeah, like I'm like a stripper, but then like, you know, full service sex workers, I feel like they get like so much so much shit when everybody has sex. And I also like want to say like women are women and femmes like are always expected to like give themselves away for free. And wives too, like yeah, just give sex for free. Don't expect anything. If you want money, you're a whore. How dare you ask for something in return? And that's rooted in you know, some bullshit ass patriarchy. Why oh, we always gotta make the man happy, but how dare we seek an orgasm or some money in our pocket? It's it's really just a double standard. And you know,
well, to go along with what Mila just said, I've found in my 15 years of dancing, because I do look the way that I do, and because of my job, people just assume, you know, if we're at the bar and I'm like, oh, I heard you're a dancer. Well, here's $20. Can I see your tits?
yeah. Oh my god, that happens to me all the time.
Like, sorry, that is not how it works here.
No.
Exactly. Like, I am off duty. I'm at a bar right now. I'm enjoying my time.
Literally.
Now, if
Like-
you would like to come to my place of employment and make me that same offer, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I am enjoying my life right now.
And I'm taking the $20 just for you being rude. Thank you for my time. Like, what the fuck?
To touch on what we've already been talking about, it is just assumed that, you know, sex work is a last resort.
Oh yeah.
And obviously that is not the situation. I know, obviously I started very early in the game, but I know plenty of women that were just like, hey, I'm feeling myself. I'm in my 30s. These are going to be the best years of my life.
Yeah.
And they want to try something different, and they end up loving it, and they just stick with it.
Yeah, they're like, why didn't I start earlier? This girl just
Right.
started at 28, I think. She's like, oh, like, why did I let all these people tell me it was like terrible to do? I mean, I started when I was 20, and I mean, I was working at this bar, Allery's in St. Paul, actually, and I was like a go-go dancer, and it was a cop bar too, which was crazy. And they asked me to do dances in the back for like this group of cops, which is illegal. So that's when I knew that they were fuckboys to begin with. Like, oh man, laws don't apply to him.
Everyone just thinks, you know, sex work, it's an easy platform to get into, and anyone can do it. You just need a cute face and a nice body.
Yeah, yeah, and the first night that I worked, I made $400 in 30 minutes because I did a 30-minute room. And after that, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna quit this job and I'm just gonna do this full time. Like, why wouldn't I? I have a couple credits for my women's studies little thing too, but which I haven't finished yet. But someday I will.
Well, I think we both know when you first get started dancing, there's that term, new girl money.
Oh yeah.
And you get it, and it's
Everybody
the best
wants
thing
the
ever,
fresh
and you're on
meat.
top of the world. And then reality hits.
Yeah. And you start getting picky too. You're like, I don't know if I should go to him. He got dirty shoes or something. But
well, no, you just kind of learn, like, not every day is going to be a good day. Everyone just assumes, you know, all of us dancers, we go into the club and we make, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars every shift.
oh yeah, the glamorized bullshit
Oh no,
that we see on Instagram and shit. Which I think is also why some people think it's easy money, because they're seeing all this shit on Instagram and it looks easy, but nobody knows like all the work that went into making like that stack.
Absolutely.
Like Yeah, and like the week before last week, one of my nights was negative $17, but then the other night was very good. So it's just like it's inconsistently consistent. Like it
Yes.
evens out.
It keeps us going. Like it's those nights where we do make, a few $1,000s in one night, and we're just like reminded this is why we do
Yeah,
this.
I'm like, oh,
Like
I'm
we
like,
get to
oh,
drink all night, hang out with our friends.
I was almost
make
about to
money.
apply somewhere. Like, no.
Definitely takes a toll on you. Absolutely. You have to, your makeup, your mental health is tested every day.
Yeah.
I would say on average, I get rejected from men 90% of the time
Oh,
that I work a shift.
and people think it's like you have to have like tough skin, because I've seen girls like crying in the back from being told no, and it's like you have to be able to know that like one yes can pay your rent, like period. So you just gotta keep going, and it's just like a hustle, like any other hustle job. Like guys always be like, "Oh, you're a good saleswoman," and I'm like, "No shit, like that's my job." It's so funny. They're like, "Let me hire you." Like, no,
That doesn't happen a lot.
why would I want to come be like a car salesman? No, thank you.
Well, along with that, we have to be so self-motivated. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I would say the majority of the clubs in the US or everywhere, you don't have to be on a schedule.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to make yourself go into work, because they don't care. Clubs don't care.
Right.
If you don't show up for a day, a month, a year, like no one's gonna call you and be like, "Hey, where you at?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's up to you to make yourself go there, because no one is gonna hold you accountable except for yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen girls, like a lot of the people that I know that get out of sex work, they go on to like just owning their own shit. Like one of my friends, she's owns a med spa now. She's about to open one literally right in Uptown, Alexa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's lit. And another girl, she owns like the threading. I wonder if you remember her. She like threads eyebrows now. She used to work at Seville. I don't know.
Maybe.
But anyways, I mean, everybody always is like, because I'm just saying that because people are always like, well, what are you gonna do next? And it's like, that's like almost like a condescending question, because who said that this wasn't like my career? Because you can do sex work for your whole life. You don't have to quit. You can save your money up, and you can buy a property or buy a house or something if you want to, or you can just keep going and you just change categories. I mean, there's definitely.
Oh yeah, there definitely does not have to be an end to it. I know a handful of dancers that are in their 50s and they are doing just fine.
Yeah, I feel like actually the older that you get, like the way more money you make, because you just got it down so easy.
Yeah. You're
like,
a veteran.
Like it's
how to handle
yeah.
shit.
If I knew what I knew when I was 20, I'd be a millionaire for sure.
I'm now 34 and I'm still deciding, but I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna keep it going. I don't think I'll ever have a quote unquote real job.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
At this point, it's been the way I've been surviving for the last 15 years, and it's done me really well. I have a husband. We're happily married, and he's
they're
comfortable
so cute.
with it. The last dance he had was from Mila.
Oh yeah.
I know it's just presumed and assumed that we can't have normal lives outside of the club,
right?
And that is certainly not the situation at all.
Right.
I own a house and pay taxes and all that other fun stuff.
Like we're real people.
Yeah.
For sure. Somebody wanted to talk about sex work and poverty. So I was just gonna say, I have a quote from, of course, Revolting Prostitute. It's a good book. But because obviously we want decriminalization for sex work, and so it just says like decriminalization alone will not solve the things that marginalize people, that drives them to sex work. Sex work is an effective strategy for resisting poverty, but it doesn't address poverty systematically. Meaning, like, obviously decriminalizing it isn't going to end all the problems. It's just going to be like a stepping stone, because there's so much that goes into, why people are in poverty, why people choose sex work, because sex work, it helps you you stay afloat and rather than sink. Which like for me, like that's why I feel like sex work is empowering to me because I was like in the beginning, like just staying at my friend's house, like renting a room for like $300, and now like like I have my own shit, like, and I can like do whatever I want. You have to like just work your way up to that, and we have like this whole community, and I feel like that gives me purpose. Like I found my lane, like my calling. Like I don't think I was ever meant for like some regular ass shit. So I'm really happy to be in this industry, and I only wish I started sooner, to be honest. Like I wish there wasn't so much stigma around it, because that's what kept me from doing it at 18. Because that when I was 18, I was like, ugh, strip. And then I like went to like, and then I like started, and I was like, ugh, I'm done.
Oh my gosh, I remember when I started when I was 18 and there were dancers that were 30. I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna be like them.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not gonna be 30 and
that's
dancing.
disgusting. Why don't they have real lives yet? And
Yeah,
how
exactly.
can you be married and still get naked for others? And
Yeah.
um,
Gosh.
all the lessons we've learned.
Fun fact. My surgeon.
I would say like one of the most exciting things about our industry is the fact that we do have all the power. Like I said earlier, we make our own schedules. We decide when we want to go into work, which is an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
We decide who we want to talk to. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Just because people are walking into your place of employment doesn't mean that we have to engage with them.
Oh yeah.
I get to decide if I want to go up to that guest or not.
Yeah, and some guy, I have seen this one guy like, ugh, nobody came up to me, and it's like, well, like, get up and go up to them with some money, or trust me, you'll get somebody. Like it's not, we don't have to come up to you.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times where managers grabbed me and been like, hey, this table or this individual would like your presence, and I'm like, no, thank you, I'm good
God.
for numerous reasons.
They always
whatever
try
it
to
may be.
grab me for couples, and I'm like, no. No offense. They're too much. Police and sex work. We do not like them. The entire policing of sex work is rooted in racism and sexism. Police are the worst. A quote from the book The Tricking Hour by Irene Slit, which I have over here. It's really good. It's also on WordPress, the whole thing. But the police, this is hardcore, but the police are an organized gang who rape prostitutes and murder people of color. They raid strip clubs and tell us that we have no right to decency. Police often force sex workers into sexual acts. And like I said before, it's the second most thing that they do. But a lot of, obviously, sex workers can't, like, if you're doing like in calls or you're at like a hotel or something, a lot of times they'll just be like, well, suck my dick and I won't charge you. And like, you're facing like, okay, you're either gonna like do this like free act, or you're gonna get a prostitution charge, which can literally ruin your life if you want to do anything else. So like, you're obviously gonna pick that side, which is just coercive in itself, of course. And they get away with it because, so that's another reason why it needs to be decriminalized, so like we can actually have some fucking, I don't know, some sort of justice. White clubs versus black clubs, they're so different.
They are.
Yeah.
And currently I'm working at both, so
Yeah. I love DTC, but yeah, and Augie's too, right? And like, where else? Lamplighter. But I feel like DTC is like a little different. It's like really big.
it is.
Those other places are like tiny, right? Yeah. I don't know. I was reading this one book, and they were saying how, how like in like I don't know, like this isn't the right term, but in like black clubs, like you're allowed to like, sometimes you're allowed to like videotape and like touch and shit, and it's like rooted in this like whole thing, like it's just like racist, like, oh, like it's okay to do this, but in like the white clubs, it's like, oh, like no touching, and it's just like no phones, da 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 da. So it, like slight differences like that, and like, oh, not being able to have braids. One time I had braids in, and I auditioned at the King of Diamonds, and they told me no, strictly because of my braids. Same with Rhino. I came back the next day without my braids, and then they hired me. I never went back.
Honestly, it's gotten to the point where I don't even feel comfortable like working or auditioning at a new club
No.
unless I do have, straight hair or just like
Oh yeah, like
curls,
get my
hair.
wigs together. Like, okay,
Yeah.
which one? Crazy.
They've conditioned me that I need to look a certain way now in order to be profitable.
Yeah, which is so fucked up.
It really is. But that goes along with, the fact that me and you, we have to work a little bit harder for our money compared to our counterparts.
Oh yeah. Oh, I used to have this friend. She was like blonde, blue eyes, big old titties, and she like would get upstairs for like hours and hours, just like that. And like, whereas I'm like, let's go. Like I have to fucking fish them in,
Our counterparts can just walk up to guests and
Yeah.
be like, hey, where we have to sit down, we have to sell ourselves, we have to convince them why we're worthy of their money.
Yep, exactly. Fucked up. Sorry, I say that word a lot. I just realized I love it. Yeah, I don't know why people always think that like sex workers don't have significant others.
Me neither. They always
see
always
that all the
assume that they're
time.
straight as well.
Yeah, but a lot are not.
Yeah, there's so many lesbians.
Oh, so many. Yeah, I was just thinking of this one time. Yeah, I used to work in this club, and I think like everybody except for me was lesbian for sure. Guys are dumb. Sorry, not all of them. So much. Oh yeah, the media. The media portrays sex workers like shit. We're not all like ran by some Russian mafia. Like they always have the clubs like run by like some scary dudes, and then like all the girls are like all fucked up on heroin or something. Which I mean, drug use is fine, but like we're not like it portrays us in this terrible, terrible light. I think like I don't even know. Like I guess Hustlers was like an okay.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Me either. Like a lot of girls didn't like it, but I mean, I did a whole project on it, and
I feel like see a lot more Cardi B, but
yeah, I wish. Yeah, she should have showed her titties. I guess they weren't paying enough, right? But she had on the pasties. But yeah, the way the media portrays us has a lot to do with why like this whole stigma is like going on. Like, oh, like poor girl, like she has daddy issues, da da da. Which like a lot of people have daddy issues, not just sex workers. So I don't know why that's even a thing. Like, plenty of people have daddy issues. It's not only sex workers.
Well, going back to the movie, I would say one of the things in there we're portrayed as like we are a big happy family. Well, some of us, but we don't all go shopping and buy each other Louis Vuitton purses. Like that's so
no. I was
so
like, where are these from? I was like, I would love. What?
We're not having holiday parties.
Yeah, no. I was like, oh damn, I wish I lived back then. Yeah. And then afterwards they showed him like working at Old Navy, and I was like, I don't know. No. I don't know if any girl is gonna go to Old Navy. Like after the strip club, like I don't maybe bartend or waitress, but ain't nobody going to Old Navy.
I would that part was lose it. Very unrealistic.
Yeah, I was just watching it like she ain't folding no clothes.
It's funny because guys just assume too that we all know each other. They'll come in the club, be like, "Oh, hey, I'm looking for this person." Yeah. I'm like, all right, is that dancer name or real name?
Yeah. Oh, dude, they'll be like, "Do you know like Zoe?" And I'm like, and they always like sometimes don't know the real name, and I'm like, listen, I don't know anybody's real name.
Yeah, like we're not that close. Like I would say everyone in the clubs we're civil and we'll get along if we need to make money together. Yeah. But other than that, we go in, we focus on ourselves, we make our own money, and we move along.
I have like my club friends, but like then like during COVID, like I didn't see them. Like, but we're all cool on the inside. Which not everybody's so lucky. There's a lot of clubs where like the managers take advantage of the girls. Like I hear like horror stories about some clubs, which is why I don't know what they need to do for that, but Somebody's got to figure that out because some of these club owners have lost their damn mind. And the way, like, we're the only reason why they're open, and yet some of these places charge crazy prices. Like, I heard, like, for All Star, they were charging girls like $250 or something for the house fee, which is crazy.
Oh, brings it back to Super Bowl. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, hell no.
I'm excited that our industry is definitely becoming more mainstream, and that we can talk about this out loud and have these conversations and discussions about what it really is.
Yeah, instead of everybody just having like these weird ideas in their head. It's just like all stereotypes. Like, and then, like, I don't know, just like if you have like some sort of stereotype about sex work, you should ask yourself, like, what's this rooted in? Why do I think this? Because I bet you'll get down to some answer and you'll figure it out that it's bullshit and propaganda that got in your little head.
Obviously, OnlyFans has been a huge topic
Oh
in
yeah.
the past year.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Don't get me started. These people, good morning to everyone except for girls with OnlyFans. And I be commenting like, and here's my link. Like, excuse you. People are so rude. And OnlyFans is a great way to make an extra income. And nobody said you had to do anything crazy. You know? I mean, if you don't want to do, it's just like, but sex workers are who made OnlyFans. I don't care if it started out as some whatever site. We made it what it is today. Period.
And they still haven't given us credit for that.
No, they haven't. No, I heard, like, I was listening to this podcast the other day, and this girl was like, but it's not necessarily for that. And it's like, why do you think you know about OnlyFans? Let me know. Is it because of cooks? I don't fucking think so. It's because of sex workers. So don't ever get it twisted.
Yeah, honestly, up until 6 months ago, I didn't even know there was other content on there.
Right. Thank you.
I had no idea.
I had no clue. Somebody was asking, I feel like systematic discrimination. Sex workers are discriminated against when, oh, well, discrimination goes far past the clubs. I mean, leasing apartments, job hunting, even divorce proceedings. If you've done any sex work, you can lose your kids. Accessing certain services and justice because you cannot call the cops. The idea, don't be a whore if you don't want to get raped. Can't believe people think that way. There's a sex worker who was murdered, and her dad literally said, oh, she deserved it because she was doing sex work. And that's what stereotypes and stigma, that's how violent it can become. These stigmas, they turn us into not people. We're disposable. It's okay if we just fucking disappear because nobody cares about us. But the thing is that sex workers are a key part in society. I mean, we do a lot for the community all the time. We put money back into the community all the time. And I just think that people should know that. So, classism. Yeah, there's a whole, what do we call it? The hierarchy. Yes, the hierarchy. I wonder who's at the top. Probably like, I guess the bottom would be like, according to like people, I guess the bottom would be like outside workers. And I think the top would be like cam girls, right?
Like, I don't know.
I can't decide if it's like,
well, right now cam girls are getting, because of OnlyFans, everyone's like, ew. So they kind of forgot about us that work in the clubs.
Yeah.
They're so focused on cam girls right now.
I always see these things that like, I don't know, these new cam girls are finally like getting like backlash, and they're like, oh my God. And then like all of us like regular people who've been sex workers are like, yeah, like shit ain't easy. And families will whole disown you type shit just for your job, which is crazy. Bank accounts can be closed because there's something called a morality clause. If they don't like how you get your money, they can literally take it from you, which is insane.
That's how I got kicked off Venmo.
Oh my God. Well, I've been kicked off Tinder and Bumblebee and Snapchat. I got another
list goes
Snapchat though. Oh yeah, that kicked you off. It's crazy. But I haven't been removed from Venmo or Cash App yet. Thank God. There's that.
Cash is king though.
Yeah. Too many transactions, which is bogus because what if you work at like a nail salon? How do they know? It's just ridiculous. Also, all those women who got shot, where was that? Huh? Oh yeah, they were sex workers. Yeah, so that's fucked up. Sex workers always getting murdered is fucking bullshit. And then the cop had the nerve to say, oh, he was just having a bad day. Probably because he doesn't place any value on sex workers, especially ones of color. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else?
Let's see. Sure. I guess it's just presumed that everyone that comes to see us, whether you're, in the club or outside of the club, that every guest is just looking for sexual excitement, and that is not the case at all. Some people just want to have a conversation. Some people just want to be held. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Not everyone's looking for
A lot of
lap
people,
dance or
yeah.
titties in their face.
A lot of people say we're like naked therapists because like people really want to come and just complain about their lives.
Yeah, we are definitely, we're considered a safe place for
Yeah.
guests.
Which is why it's also emotional labor as well. Like we have to sit here and like listen to you whine about your wife type shit.
Well, they know we won't judge them.
Right.
They know that they can indulge in, all of their fantasies.
Yeah.
And we're not going to make fun of them for it.
No. I'll listen to you all day if you're paying me. I don't care. Sure. Tell me everything. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I had one more quote for like people who are like don't think you should be a sex worker or whatever, but they like because they want you to be like a good girl. There's like this one saying like a good girl stays grateful with crumbs. Fuck that. Okay. So that's all I wanted to say. And then if anybody like wants to like pay, like definitely pay for your porn, and so here's some sites: OnlyFans, Fan Central, ManyVids, Just for Fans, Instagram, Sex Panther, Twitter. There's so many sex workers on Twitter. I'm one of them. And then campsites, Chatterbait, Cam Soda, love Cam Soda, I'm Live, My Free Cam, and Snapchat. And then you can find a bunch on Reddit as well. So yeah, just paying the creator directly just makes it so the money goes directly to the person who's making the content versus going through a third party. A lot of places are unethical, we'll say.
I guess I would say, no matter what kind of sex work you choose to indulge in, just know your worth.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And never like, I don't negotiate. You set boundaries and you keep them. Sometimes you literally have to be like, hey, I'm a person. Because they forget that you're a fucking person, especially when they walk into that club. Like so many times I've had to like swat. I've had to like use my strength to like get a man's hand off of me, which I think is like insane that I'm like have to use like muscles when I'm telling you not to touch me.
Yeah.
Because they don't think like all of a sudden like, oh, this isn't a person. It's like, yes, we're people. We have like whole lives. Like this is just our job, and it's a good ass job. And why would we want another job?
Well, I've worked at clubs where you are allowed to set your own prices, and guys will come up to me asking for a dance, and I'll tell them my price, and they'll be like, "Well, that girl only charges this."
You should go to that girl then.
Yes, you should.
These
are my prices, and I need you to respect that.
Right, exactly. Like, and then if you want to be touched, like literally just ask, because like honestly, it's not that hard. It's called consent. You don't just touch people. Some books. One of my favorite sex workers, she's an online sex worker. She's this beautiful Black woman. Her name's Alexis Giande. I hope I'm not butchering that. But she wrote this book called Angry Black Girl. It's a collection of essays on race, gender, and America that I recommend. I brought this other book, Global Women, and it just shows it just kind of talks about nannies, maids, and sex workers in this new economy because they kind of like all like intersect. Then I have Coming Out Like a Porn Star, which is a collection of essays on pornography, protection, and privacy. So it's a bunch of porn stars who just talk about coming out. It's really good. And then this one I just started reading called The Tricking Hour. My friend actually sent it to me from New York. She's a dominatrix girl in Manhattan. And this is super good. It's actually on WordPress for free. So if you just type in The Tricking Hour, Irene Silt, you can read it. And it's really good. Love it. And then obviously Revolting Prostitutes is a good one. Love that one. I have that on my Kindle. And yeah, I don't know. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Testing.
Okay. So when you guys are like working, do you guys experience like any jealousy from other females? And like, if y'all do, how do y'all deal with that?
When we're not working, you said?
Well, when you guys are working.
Oh, when we are working.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, I work at such like a friendly club, but I have like when I worked in Guam, like there are girls that are like very territorial about their customers. They try to like gatekeep them. So if you like you sit with them or something, they'll give you like the eye. I mean, I've seen whole ass brawls in the locker room before, over customers and shit, but I haven't seen that at the Seville. I don't know.
We all work together because we all want to make this bread. So honestly, we
Yeah,
do what we
no.
need to do to make our money on the floor. Obviously, there's going to be cliques. It's easier to work in teams
Yeah.
to make money. So there's going to be cliques, but for the most part,
Yeah.
we all just want to make money and keep our jobs.
Yeah. I
So-
think the only thing that like we all don't like is like I call them vultures.
Oh,
They're these girls that will like a dude will walk on the door and they're just like they just pounce on him. They don't even like give him a chance.
yeah. It's proper etiquette to let them get in the door,
Get a drink.
get a seat, get a
Yeah.
drink, and then you attack.
Yeah. I'll like wait for him to get a drink and I'm like, hello. But sometimes I'm like too shy. Like I have to like be like, you're cool. Remember. And then I'll sit down and start talking. I'm like, oh yeah. So yeah, I don't know about jealousy, but more so stripper etiquette. And if you don't follow that etiquette, you'll probably get some side eyes, or you might like I might even be like, no, like we don't do that type of shit.
Yeah. I think it also depends on like what club you're at. Like some clubs
Oh,
you're
yeah.
allowed to sit on the tip rail and talk to guests that are at the tip rail.
Yeah.
Some clubs you're not.
Dude, Seville's honestly one of the only clubs that I know that you can sit at the tip rail and talk to dudes. Because most clubs don't let you do that.
Yeah.
Does DTC?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's literally, I swear it's only like there'll be new girls that'll come in and like they'll see us sit down and they'll be like, and I'm like, it's allowed. But like it's still like super etiquette if they're like talking to the guests. I'm not gonna be like, hi. Some girls will and they'll get like, excuse me. I'm here.
I know some girls, they get territorial about their quote unquote regulars. And I say that because
Oh yeah.
if you don't know about regulars, they don't last long. And also they will jump from girl to girl. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Everyone's different, but
Yeah,
you know,
my stripper Oprah, I call her. She always told me she would say, "Boo, there's a beginning and end to everything. Okay, you just you milk that and then you let them go. Like I know some girls who like they'll like get mad at their dude for spending money on another girl, but to me I'm just like, you can spend money on the whole damn club as long as I get mine. Don't matter to me. I want everybody to make money, you know.
there's enough to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing is caring.
It is. I thought we learned that in kindergarten. Do you have another one?
Yeah. Another question is, if someone are considering getting in sex work, what are tips and like ways they could be safe?
Wait,
If someone's interested in getting into sex work,
Yeah. What are tips and ways they could be safe?
tips and ways to what?
tips and ways to be safe.
I
I guess
guess
always let someone know where you're going. that's super important. You know, whether you're going to a club or meeting someone,
Yeah.
just always let someone know.
Yeah, especially if you're doing like like if you're doing like outside sex work, like just outside the club, I suppose. Well, both. You always like tell somebody where you are, send your location when you get there, send your location when you leave. Um, some people I know they take a picture of their ID. If a guy tells you no, like I'll usually just be like, okay, well, how am I supposed to know you're not a murderer? Um, what else? Oh, there's also apps. So I put in their information. If I'm going to meet them outside of the club, then I put in their information. There's one called like Truth Finder, something easy, and it'll pull up like it's crazy, but it'll pull up like their address, a bunch of shit, their criminal record, everything. You can get anybody's information, and so that's another way. There's also a whole entire blacklist for violent customers. There's a Minneapolis one. There's a whole entire like community that if you like you can like be like added into with like a bunch of like ways to stay safe. But honestly, just doing background checks, sharing location, checking the blacklist, getting the ID.
I think
And this
meeting
is
up,
just called screening. You just screen your client.
meeting up in hotels as opposed to like motels.
Yeah, I
Like
always
the
meet
more
like
people, the better.
I always meet in public first. Like if you see one red flag, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Like because shit can go south, and you don't want that. I mean, there's too many women out here that, and it's like this is also like a privilege too. Not everybody has the privilege to screen their clients, so that's why another reason why we need it to be decriminalized so that people can work in safe spaces rather than be like out here risking their lives because they need to pay rent, you know?
This isn't pertaining to safety, but get paid up first.
Oh
Or at
yeah,
least
oh
half
yeah.
now, maybe half later
Mhm.
situation.
Oh yeah, I know some girls that do a deposit too, which I feel like is hard to get, but if you're like hardcore in the escorting game, they'll get that deposit. And it's funny, some guys are like, you can keep the deposit. It was never refundable. But yeah, I mean, those are just the main ways. Definitely, if you can screen your client. If not, make sure you meet up somewhere.
I like the
somewhere
buddy
safe.
system. Like,
Hmm.
if you can, always try to do parties or whatnot with a friend.
Yeah.
You know, you can have some fun with it. You can be safe, and you can both make money together.
Hmm.
Okay, one more. How have people outside of sex work, like, spoke up or even like talking
I know Amber Rose has done a ton for people like us, which
Oh
has
yeah.
been amazing. She does.
Yeah,
does
she
she
set
call
up the
them
whole
the
slut
whore?
walk.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
you know
slut
why?
walk.
You know why? Because a cop said, um, don't dress like a whore if you don't want to get raped. He said the same shit. A cop said that. And so that like started it. And so she was like, fuck that. And she started the slut walk. I was just listening to a podcast about this like earlier today. And she's just like, she's an ex-sex worker. I mean, she used to be a stripper, but sex worker allies that try to do stuff for us. I mean, there's the SWAT Minneapolis sex worker outreach project. And not everybody that works for them are sex workers, but they just like want like, a safe environment for us. There's somebody I'm going to interview on my next show who she works for like an abortion clinic that like helps like people like sex workers and people who don't have like maybe insurance or something. She helps them get like safe abortions, um things like that. I mean, just things that are just like offering like basic like stuff like shelter for sex workers that work outside, Narcan for sex workers who have addiction issue, clean needles for people that are working outside because that's something that's like if that's obviously something that's going on, so like why not like let's provide something safe, so just things like that, like community service essentially.
I know for years Ashton Kutcher has actually been doing great work when it comes to sex traffickers and finding them. He's been donating a lot of his time and energy and money to
Yeah.
making sure that that's not happening and that
Right.
these people are penalized and these young women are found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like advocacy too, like speaking up when simple as like when somebody says something ignorant about a sex worker, something as simple as like that's not true or that's an ignorant thing to say. Just like speaking up, you know, like that's something that somebody can do to like further like end the stigma, you know. Like it's so simple, like people could just like speak up.
The fact that our industry has become more mainstream in the last few years is definitely helping, and
Yeah.
the fact that pole work is now looked at as pole art is huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and there's also programs for our sisters in incarceration because there's actually a lot of sex workers like sitting in jail. So I know that there's places that you can donate to them to help them out because I don't know why they're locked up anyways. There's like this saying like we let rapists go, but we have sex workers in prison, which is absolutely absurd because I know the sex worker was doing consensual work, but we have fucking rapists that we let get out. So that just goes to show you how sexist and bullshit like the whole entire system is. And it's usually Black women. So it's also racist as fuck. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
So this is the last question. What is the biggest myth about sex work?
The biggest myth. I don't know that it's easy work. I suppose. I don't know. Other than that,
I don't know if I could just hone in on one.
right? There's so many. Biggest myth. I think that it's easy and that we're bad people, that we're unworthy, um, that we don't deserve like respect and love because we're less than. I think that that's like this huge myth because we're amazing and we deserve a lot more respect than what we get, especially for like what we do for everyone. I mean, it's the nicest people I know. That we're dirty, we're cleaner than like I'm pretty sure any vanilla person. Like, I know a lot of girls like bathe in alcohol baths after every stage, but I'm just obsessed with showers. I love hot water. But yeah, like the whole like idea that we're dirty, I think is crazy. Like I hate it when we watch movies and they'll be like dirty hooker or some shit like that, and it's just like she's probably cleaner than your wife. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I think as far as like stereotypes go, like the biggest misconception that I can think of that we are all hypersexual.
Oh yeah, you know how many sex workers I know that are literally asexual or like are celibate?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're not just like pussy. Like, no, I mean, you know, maybe some of us, but so many girls. I mean, I actually gave a girl like this girl was like, I don't have a vibrator. I've never tried one. And I was like, we're going to the store right now. And she was like 27. Like she'd never, yeah. And she never orgasmed from another man before because I feel like so many, especially like women are not taught to advocate for their orgasm especially with a male partner. And that's why she never came from a dude before. And I think it's really important to advocate for your orgasm. And sexual freedom is a human right. Like it doesn't matter if you fuck 100 people or 3 people. Like that you're worthy is the same. No, neither one is better than the other. Just yeah, I suppose that's it. Oh, me?
I would like Like, we are you. Like, we are all the same at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to share. I feel like we covered pretty broadly. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just thank you.
Whatever you do, just stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe, consent, and advocate for your orgasm.
Now you understand like you was under me. Sit under 3 bands, my man's is a fan. Now you understand, let's hit another scene.